Hi, it's January 26th, 2011, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Culver City, California. Well, hi everybody. We're at the 0 point of systemic collapse. That's really the point at which it becomes clear that we are experiencing, living through a systems failure of human industrial civilization. It's one thing to bring you this news every day, but now when we have things like, take Egypt, for example, the regime of Hosni Mubarak, who's been president since 1981, looks like it's about to fall in the wake of massive protests breaking out throughout the Arab world. Algeria, Tunisia, yesterday Lebanon, Yemen, and these are all marked by self-immolations, people burning themselves, trying to burn themselves to death in public as a form of protest. That tells you how desperately hungry and how desperately frustrated people are in the Arab world. And it will not be long before we start seeing these same events happen in Europe and happening here as well. This is a very dangerous time, but that's one big thing that's scary, and many people would hear something like that and they'll try to argue as to why that one thing is not an indication that civilization is collapsing. So we do the litany. 11 police officers shot in a 24-hour period in this country this week. Europe continuing to absolutely implode economically, and it becoming more apparent by the minute that the EU is broken and will fail. A bill promoted by Newt Gingrich, who wants to run for president, that will allow states to bankruptcy is moving on to file bankruptcy is moving on fast track through Congress. Within days of that being passed, you will see states around the country start to go bankrupt. My two leading contenders now are New Jersey and Illinois. California could be right up there, but there's 6 states able to do that. You will see tens and perhaps hundreds of thousands of state employees laid off and fired. You will see pension funds disappeared overnight. You will see wages lowered. You will see much more civil unrest in this country. I would argue that it's already begun, especially with the crime wave that's now coming, not just against police officers, but I'm also tracking violent crimes and the predators who understand that there's a much lessened law enforcement presence out there, and they're feeding on this energy of collapse, are coming out and aggressively looking for victims. It's very important that you learn how not to be one. So this is systemic. We also have climate collapse, mass extinction. The Gulf of Mexico is now, it's absolutely clear that the Gulf of Mexico is dead, and the people who have been exposed to that are getting very sick and dying. That's not going to come back. We have let me read you a quote. Here's a quote. The quote's from Culture Change, written by Adam Sachs. It's a brilliant piece of writing, and the piece he wrote on January 20th. Was called The Natural Laws of Collapse. So here it is. This is just one quote. We had this on the World News Desk this week. I have to put my glasses on. The culture which drives us, whether we deplore it or not, likes us to go around in activism circles whenever we threaten to question its most basic tenets. Activism keeps us busy and harmless. Amen. Notwithstanding, the forbidden point to consider here, what they don't want you to see, the forbidden point to consider here is that collapse of civilizations, including ours, is inevitable and always has been. It's as fundamental a law as the law of gravity. Hidden in plain sight, we have not grasped what will sooner or later become obvious. Civilizational collapse is not up to any of us. There is nothing we can do to prevent it, no matter what we do. As when faced with an unstoppable Hurricane Katrina, which was only obeying the laws of nature, the best we can do is be prepared. And for those of you who followed me for a long time, you know that when I ended, the last 3 words that I spoke at the biggest lecture I ever had at the University of Washington, Seattle in 2005, the last 3 words were prepare, prepare, prepare. So you will see a shift in focus here at CollapseNet now. I am so pleased to be affiliating with Tom Brown Jr., just an amazing spiritual man, an amazing man who also understands real life. And his schools have been famous around the world now for almost 2 decades, I think. Maybe tens and hundreds of thousands have been through, and he has one of the most loyal fan bases. And I'm going up there because I am absolutely convinced now, and CollapseNet will be moving in this direction. I am absolutely convinced that our primary job now is to help you to prepare for what? Well, certainly now, all of the prior activities that we've been promoting are still good. But what I don't see is anybody preparing on how to deal with civil unrest, massive, huge increases in crime, violent crime, for massive dislocations, for food shortages, and it's very clear from the stuff we've been reporting on the World News Desk that there is a massive inflationary spike going on around the world, not hyperinflation, inflationary, and the reason these food riots are happening all over the Arab world now, and we'll talk about that for a second, is because not that there's a shortage of food, it's because food is too expensive for anybody to buy. That's what food riots are. Now, of course, there will be shortages of food. We have 7 billion people, but there's a different flavor to that. Now, across the Arab continent, Morocco, it started in Algeria, Tunisia, in Egypt now is out. We're coming back to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, and Lebanon. Egypt is the largest Arab country. It contains the Suez Canal, through which Europe receives all of its oil from the Middle East. They pass on tankers through the Suez. Egypt is a vital linchpin in the balance of power in the Middle East vis-a-vis Israel. The Egyptian-Israeli peace treaty has held since it was initiated by Jimmy Carter and Anwar Sadat way back in the late 70s. And if the Egyptian government is overthrown, which it looks like it will be now, then you will have instability on an order that will dictate that the Israeli government get involved. And this is a huge monkey wrench in the whole global calculus of geopolitics and the balance of power. We picked up a story, and it has apparently been confirmed that Hosni Mubarak's son Gamal has left Egypt with 100 pieces of luggage, which might be the Tunisian gold. You don't know. But if that gets out to the people, this plays very much like it did with the Shah of Iran and many other dictators, Anastasio Somoza, anybody else, who fell over the course of history, that they loot the country, and that's the sign that they're leaving. And even though mainstream news is suppressing it, you can still find accurate reports. This is not going away. This is extremely violent. And Egypt is scared shitless, and quite frankly, we should all be too. But of course, we have all these other things to worry about as well. What that conveys is the sense of urgency, immediate preparation to take care of yourself. So 3 months worth of food, fresh water, first aid supplies. If you are going to buy weapons, do it now for self-defense. Because, listen, it's obvious with 11 policemen shot in a 24-hour period in this country and police forces being cut back, you will have to look out for yourself. And the predators will come out. Training on that. I strongly recommend Tom Brown's course because it anchors you in a mental attitude that is the most important, first thing you need to be prepared to survive. You need the attitude of a survivor. You need to look like someone who is not prey, walking around waiting to be taken. You need to know how to think and how to function and how to feel comfortable in situations. So I'm going to be gone up at Tom Brown School for a week from February 6th through 12th. We're going to be making new videos up there. Tom and I are going to be doing joint seminars, and I hope you will continue to join me, as we've had so many loyal fans on the Lifeboat Hour. We have some amazing guests coming up. Our guests are getting better by the day. We have Jim Howard Kunstler coming up. We have some amazing, Peter Joseph of Zeitgeist will be a guest soon. So we are gaining momentum. But as you watch CollapseNet change now, CollapseNet's going to be evolving into something that will help you get quick information faster. The World News Desk is now more important than it ever has been. Because as these things fall down, I'm the guy who can tell you which tree is going to fall on you first, hopefully, so that you know which way to move to duck that, because you can only dodge like one tree at a time as they're falling, and we have to know which ones are going to be the closest to us in time. So it's clearer now, I guess, in a lot of ways. This was inevitable. We knew it. It's here. Look to your own safety. Change your focus. This is no longer time for academic or organizing or protesting or forming groups. You need to get involved in a local community, either through CollapseNet and Our Map, Transition US, or any other way, and start meeting other people, because you will be allies when everybody else on the street around you will be dazed, confused, and dangerous. And what we need now are friends close to us. That's going to be all that makes a difference. I'll be back to you as soon as I need to. Stay with us on the World News Desk. Go through the Lighthouse directory, now more than 900 entries, and check out our regional and local blogs for anything that's of use. But we're going to bring you the breaking news as you need to hear it and tell you what you need to look for. Thanks. I'll see you soon.